The following transmission is a work of fiction. This is now tuned the Dead broadcast.
This is Kestrel Relay, broadcasting on the civilian emergency band, frequency 162.475, timestamp 3:14 a.m. local. If you're hearing my voice and you're outside, stay outside. I'll explain why in a moment. I need you to listen first, and I need you to not panic, because panic is going to be the thing that kills most of you tonight. And I would like very much for that not to happen. My name is Aidan Sayer. I work the overnight desk at the Regional Weather and Hazard Relay Station outside Brockton Hollow. It is a small building. Concrete walls, 2 transmitters, a coffee pot that hasn't worked since October. I have been doing this job for 9 years. I have heard every test signal, every drill, every county-level alert, every false alarm from a kid pressing the wrong button at a fire hall. I know what this system sounds like when it is behaving normally. What I'm about to describe is not normal. At 3:02 a.m., the emergency alert system triggered without a county handoff. No origin code, no station ID, no required preamble, just the tone. The long one. The one we run twice a year to make sure the hardware still works. Except this tone ran for 41 seconds instead of the regulation 8. And the voice that followed it was not a recording I recognize. It said, and I'm reading directly from the transcript I printed because I do not want to misquote this. It said, "Attention. This is not a test. Anyone currently inside a residential structure within the alert zone is already deceased. Do not attempt to wake them. Do not attempt to enter. Repeat. Anyone indoors is already deceased. Remain outside until further instruction." Then it looped. 3 times. Then it stopped. I called dispatch. Dispatch did not pick up. I called my supervisor. My supervisor did not pick up. I called the county sheriff's non-emergency line, and a man answered who was not the dispatcher I know by name. And he told me, very politely, that the line I had called was no longer in service. And then he hung up. That was 12 minutes ago. I'm still trying to figure out what to do. The first thing you do when a signal comes through that shouldn't exist is you check the equipment. That's the training. That's the discipline. You don't believe the signal. You believe the math. So I checked. The primary transmitter is clean. Diagnostic green across the board. The secondary is on standby, also green. The receiver array is pulling clean carriers from the 3 nearest stations, Pelham, Coldwater, and the big repeater up on Mount Anson. All 3 are broadcasting their normal overnight loops. Weather, road conditions. An ad for a furniture store in Pelham that I have heard maybe 4,000 times in my life. Nothing on any of them is talking about an alert. That should be impossible. If the emergency alert system fires in this county, it fires on every station inside the cascade. It is not optional. It is not selective. It is hardwired into the FCC infrastructure, and it has been since I was a child. When it goes off everywhere. But it only came through here. I checked the logs. The alert is in my system. Time-stamped, recorded, archived. I can play it back right now if I want to, and I have twice, and each time my hands got a little colder. But it is not in Pelham's logs. I called their overnight tech, a woman named Reese, who I've known for 6 years. And she picked up on the second ring, and she sounded normal. And she told me there had been no alert on her end. Nothing. Quiet shift. She said she'd been reading a paperback. I asked her if she'd heard anything strange tonight, anything at all. There was a pause. She said her dog had been standing at the window for the last hour. Not barking, just standing, looking at something she couldn't see. Then she laughed it off and said, "Dogs are weird," and we hung up. I am sitting here looking at my own window now. I do not have a dog. I need to describe what I'm looking at because I think it matters. And I think if I don't say it out loud, I'm going to start convincing myself I imagined it. The station sits at the end of a service road, half a mile off the county highway. There is a gravel parking lot. There are 4 lights on tall poles. There is my car, a gray sedan, parked under the second light. There is a chain-link fence that goes around the transmitter tower. That is what should be in the parking lot. What is in the parking lot right now is also a man. He is standing about 30 feet from my car. He is facing the building. He is not moving. He is wearing what looks like a bathrobe and slippers. And I can see his breath in the cold air, which means he is alive. Which means he is a person. Which means there is a logical explanation for him being here. Except the service road is gated. The gate is locked. I locked it myself at the start of my shift. And I did not hear a car. I have been watching him for 4 minutes. He has not shifted his weight. He has not looked away from the building. He has not blinked, as far as I can tell. But it's hard to be sure at this distance. I tried the intercom. I asked him if he needed help. I asked him twice. He did not respond. His breath is still visible. I am not going outside. The alert said to stay outside. I am inside. I do not know what that means yet, but I am beginning to suspect I should. At 3:31 a.m., the alert ran again. Same tone, same length. 41 seconds, same voice, except this time it added something. It said, "Attention. This is not a test. Anyone currently inside a residential structure within the alert zone is already deceased. Do not attempt to wake them. Do not attempt to enter. Kestrel relay, please confirm receipt." It said my station's name. I want to be very clear about this, because I have already replayed the recording 6 times, and the recording does say it. Kestrel relay, please confirm receipt. As if the alert is talking to me, as if it knows I'm listening, as if it has been listening back. The relay station is not a residential structure. I want to make that distinction immediately, because it matters. This is a commercial broadcast facility. It is zoned commercial. It has been commercial since 1978. So technically, by the language of the alert, I am not inside a residential structure, and therefore the alert is not addressing me as one of the deceased. But it is asking me to confirm receipt. I have not confirmed receipt. The protocol for an unverified alert is to log it, attempt origin trace, and wait for instruction from the regional supervisor. I am following protocol. I am doing what I'm supposed to do. The origin trace returned nothing. Not an error, nothing. As in the field where the originating station code should appear is blank, not unknown, not corrupted, blank. Like the alert came from nowhere, which is not a thing that the EAS is capable of producing, because every alert must originate somewhere, and the field cannot be empty by design. I called Reese back. She did not pick up. I called the cold water station. The line rang for a long time, and then a man answered and said hello, and his voice was wrong. I cannot explain what I mean by that. It was a normal voice saying a normal word, but something in the cadence was off, like he had practiced saying hello, but had never actually said it before. I hung up. The man in the parking lot is still there. His breath is still visible. He has taken one step closer. Let me try to lay this out, because I think clarity is the only resource I have left. 1. An emergency alert came through my station, only my station, that says everyone indoors in the alert zone is already dead. 2. The alert has now addressed my station by name and asked me to confirm receipt. 3. A man is standing in my parking lot who should not be able to be here. He is alive. He has not moved much. He is closer than he was. 4. My colleagues at neighboring stations are either not answering, or answering wrong, or describing small abnormalities they are trying to dismiss. 5. I am currently inside a building. The alert defines residential structures as the deceased category. This building is commercial. I am, in theory, safe by the alert's own logic. 6. I do not trust the alert's logic. I do not trust the voice. I do not trust the man outside. 7. I am still broadcasting on the civilian emergency band because if any of you are hearing me, I want you to know what I know. I will keep talking. At 3:47 a.m., my civilian band started receiving. That should not be happening either. The civilian emergency band is broadcast only from this station. We transmit. We do not receive on that frequency. The hardware is not built for it. There is a receiver technically, but it is wired to a separate antenna, and it is supposed to be passive, used only for monitoring our own output to make sure we sound the way we think we sound. But voices started coming through on it. Not one voice, several, overlapping, cutting in and out. I could only catch fragments, and I am going to read them to you exactly as I wrote them down, because I do not want to embellish. A woman saying, "Please." He won't wake up. He won't wake up. His eyes are open, but he won't wake up. A man saying, "The windows. Something about the windows. I can't tell what's outside the windows anymore." A child. And this one I had to listen to twice to be sure. A child saying, "Mommy is standing in the hallway, but she's facing the wrong way." A different man, older, saying, "The radio said we were already dead. The radio said we were already dead. Is that why I can't feel my hands? Is that why I can't feel my hands?" Then silence. Then another voice. Calm, almost conversational, saying, "Kestrel relay, please confirm receipt." I did not confirm receipt. I sat in this chair with my coffee getting cold, and I listened to people I do not know describing the inside of houses I have never been in. And I tried to understand what I was hearing. I tried to apply the framework of a normal emergency. A gas leak, a chemical release, carbon monoxide, some kind of widespread environmental event that affects people indoors and not outdoors. That framework almost worked. Almost. Carbon monoxide does not announce itself on the emergency alert system 40 minutes before it kills you. Carbon monoxide does not call my station by name. Carbon monoxide does not put a man in a bathrobe in my parking lot, alive, breathing, slowly stepping closer when I'm not watching directly. I checked. He is closer. He is now maybe 22 feet from my car. He has not raised his head. I do not think he can. I tried the landline. The relay station has a hard line that runs directly to the County Emergency Operations Center. It bypasses the cellular network. It bypasses the internet. It is, in theory, the most reliable phone in the building. The cord is bright orange because someone in the 70s decided that emergency phones should be impossible to ignore. And I have always appreciated that decision until tonight. I picked it up. I got a dial tone. I dialed the EOC. It rang 4 times. A woman answered. She said, "Brockton Hollow Emergency Operations, this is Eileen. What is your emergency?" I know Eileen. I have known Eileen for 6 years. I have eaten lunch with Eileen at the diner on Route 6. Eileen has a daughter in college and a husband who restores old motorcycles and a laugh that I would recognize on any continent. The voice on the line was Eileen's voice. I started to talk. I started to describe the alert, the man, the calls, all of it. I was halfway through the second sentence when Eileen interrupted me. She said, "Aiden, why are you still inside?" I stopped. I asked her what she meant. She said, "Aiden, the alert told you. Why are you still inside? You should come outside. Everyone is outside now. It's nice out here. The sky is very clear. You should come outside." I asked her where she was. She said she was in the parking lot. I asked her which parking lot. She said, "The one outside your building, Aiden. I am the one in the bathrobe. I have been waiting for you." I did not say anything for a long time. Then I said, "Eileen, you are not in my parking lot. I can see the man in my parking lot. He is not you. He is a man." There was a pause. Then Eileen said in a perfectly cheerful voice, "Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. I got confused. It's been a long night." Then the line went dead. I have not picked it up again. I have been thinking about the word indoors. The alert said, "Anyone currently inside a residential structure within the alert zone is already deceased." That is very specific language. Residential structure, not building, not enclosed space, not indoors in the general sense. Residential. I am not in a residential structure. I have established this. The station is commercial, so I should be fine. But I keep coming back to the phrasing because the voice on the receiver, the child, said her mother was standing in the hallway facing the wrong way. The woman said her husband wouldn't wake up. The older man said his hands had gone numb. These are people inside houses, inside homes. The alert's category. So either the alert is describing something that is already true, which is to say that everyone inside a home in this zone was already dead before the alert ever played, which is impossible because they are talking on my receiver. Or the alert is making something true by saying it, declaring it. The way a verdict is not a description, it is an instruction. I do not like either possibility. I have a third possibility, which I'm trying to take seriously, which is that the alert is correct in a way I do not yet understand. That there is a definition of dead that does not match the one I'm working with. That the people calling in are something other than what they sound like. The child said her mother was facing the wrong way. I keep thinking about that. What does it mean for a person to be facing the wrong way in their own hallway? There are only so many ways a person can stand. There are only so many directions a hallway has. Unless the hallway changed. Unless the house changed. unless the inside of every residential structure in this zone is no longer the same kind of space it was an hour ago. I am going to stop speculating. I am going to look outside again. There are 6 of them in the parking lot. I want to say that clearly on the record because I'm the only person who is seeing this, and I would like the record to exist. 6. The original man in the bathrobe. A woman in what looks like a nightgown. Another man in a t-shirt and pajama pants, no shoes. An older woman in a heavy winter coat over what looks like sleepwear. A teenage boy, and a smaller figure near the gate that I cannot quite resolve in the light, but appears to be a child. They are all facing the building. They are all breathing. I can see the breath. The temperature out there has to be near freezing. None of them are moving, except, of course, they are. Because every time I look back at the camera feed, they are slightly closer than they were. Not when I'm watching, only when I look away, when I check my screens, when I write something down, when I blink. I tested this. I stared at the feed for 90 seconds without looking away. None of them moved. The instant I looked at my keyboard to type and looked back up, the woman in the nightgown was 3 feet closer. This is not a thing people do. This is a thing my brain is telling me is happening because it is the only available explanation for a set of observations I cannot otherwise reconcile. I have been trained, professionally, to trust my instruments over my impressions. So let me say what the instruments are telling me. The motion sensor on the perimeter fence is registering movement. Continuous, slow, low amplitude movement. The kind a tree branch makes in light wind. Except there is no wind tonight. The weather feed says 0.2 miles per hour, which is functionally still. So something is moving out there, slowly, continuously. And my eyes are only catching it when I am not looking directly at it. I am going to stop looking at the feed. I am going to keep talking. I am going to assume that they are closer now than they were when I started this sentence. I have a paper map of the alert zone pinned to the wall above my desk. We are required to keep one. It shows the broadcast radius of this station and the residential clusters within it. There are 4: Brockton Hollow proper, the trailer park off Route 6, the lake houses on the North Shore, and a small subdivision called Hartwell Springs that sits maybe 9 miles east of here. I just counted the residential structures on the map. There are 642. The alert said, anyone currently inside a residential structure within the alert zone is already deceased. The most recent census for this region put the average household at 2.3 people. Most of them are home at 3:14 in the morning. Most of them are asleep, so we are talking conservatively about 1,400 people. 1,400 people in their beds, in their houses. The alert said they are already dead. Past tense. Already. Before the alert even played. I do not believe that. I cannot believe that. The voices on the receiver are evidence that they are not dead, at least not in the way I understand the word. But something has happened to them. Something is happening to them. And the alert was either a warning or a verdict. And I'm increasingly afraid it was the second one. I keep thinking about the breath in the parking lot. The visible breath. The fact that those people are alive enough to exhale warm air into the cold. and yet still enough to be standing motionless in front of my building at 4 in the morning. In their pajamas, having walked here, somehow, from homes I cannot see. If they are dead, they should not be breathing. If they are alive, they should not be here. I cannot make both of those true, so one of them must be false. I do not want to find out which. At 4:18 a.m., I got a call on the landline. I had decided not to pick it up again. I had decided that. I had made it a rule. The way you make rules when you are trying to ration the small amount of control you still have over your own decisions. The phone rang anyway. It rang for a long time. It rang for what I would later count on the playback as 4 minutes and 17 seconds, which is not a thing landlines do. Landlines give up. They time out. This one did not. I picked it up. A man's voice said, "This is Marcus Vale at the National Weather Service field office in Albany. Am I speaking to Kestrel Relay?" I said yes. He said, "Are you the operator on shift?" I said yes. He said, "Listen to me very carefully. We have been trying to reach your station for the last 40 minutes. Your transmitter is broadcasting at full power, but we have not been able to receive any of your outgoing signal at any of our monitoring sites. We can see that you are transmitting. We can see the carrier wave. But nothing inside the carrier is reaching us." I said, "That doesn't make sense." He said, "No, it doesn't. We have a team driving out to your location right now. They left 30 minutes ago. They should be there by now. They are not there. We have lost contact with their vehicle." The last thing the driver said was that the road into Brockton Hollow looked different than he remembered. I asked him what that meant. He said he did not know. He said, "Adin, I need you to tell me everything that has happened at your station tonight." I told him. I told him about the alert. I told him about the voices on the receiver. I told him about the parking lot. I told him about Eileen. And about the call that had come from a phone line that should have terminated at the EOC. He was silent for a long time. Then he said, "Aiden, listen to me. Do not under any circumstances confirm receipt of that alert. Do not respond to it. Do not engage with the voices on the receiver. Do not go outside." I said, "The alert said to go outside." The alert said indoors meant dead. He said, "The alert is lying." He said, "The alert wants you to come out." Then his line went dead, and I have not been able to raise Albany since. I have been replaying that call. I have been replaying it because Marcus Vale said something I missed the first time. And I only caught it on the third listen. He said, "We have been trying to reach your station for the last 40 minutes. 40 minutes. The call came in at 4:18. That means he started trying at 3:38. The alert ran at 3:02. That means someone, somewhere outside this zone, knew something was wrong at my station before the alert even played its second loop. Before I had even processed what was happening. Before I had called anyone. Which means there is a wider picture. There is a context for this that exists beyond my building. Marcus Vale in Albany was watching me transmit nothing. Watching my carrier wave go out empty, knowing something had gone wrong, before I knew anything was wrong at all. So whatever this is, it is not just here. It is being observed. By someone. From somewhere. The team he sent. The team that left 30 minutes before he called me. They would have driven up Route 6. They would have passed the trailer park. They would have passed the turnoff to Hartwell Springs. The driver said the road looked different than he remembered. I have driven that road 4 times a week for 9 years. There is nothing about it that should look different. Unless the alert zone is not just a broadcast region, unless it is a physical region, a bounded area, a place that has, in some way I do not understand, separated from the surrounding geography. I am going to test this theory. I am going to go to the window facing east, and I am going to look toward Hartwell Springs, which sits on a small ridge and is normally visible as a cluster of porch lights and one tall radio tower with a red beacon on top. I have just looked. The ridge is there. The porch lights are not. The radio tower is not. The red beacon is not. There is nothing in that direction. Not darkness, not fog, nothing, as in the eye refuses to settle on it. As in there is a shape where the ridge should be, and the shape is exactly the size of the ridge. But it does not contain anything. I am going to step back from the window now. The receiver came back on at 4:34. This time it was just one voice. The calm one. The one that had asked Kestrel Relay to confirm receipt. It said, Aiden. It used my name. I want to be precise about this. The alert had addressed my station. Kestrel Relay. That is a public identifier. It is on FCC filings. It is on the side of the building. Anyone with a directory could find it. But my name, Aiden Sayer, is not on the broadcast. It is not on the door. It is not on the schedule that gets posted to the regional operations site. The only people who know I work this shift are my supervisor, the 4 other techs who rotate through this station, and the night dispatcher at the EOC. The voice said, Aiden, I would like to ask you a question. I did not respond. The voice said, Aiden, I would like to ask you a question. You can answer it out loud. The receiver is open. I did not respond. I am professionally trained not to respond to unauthenticated transmissions on a one-way channel. The training is very clear. You log it, you report it, you do not engage. The voice said, Aiden, why do you think you are still alive? I sat there for a long time. The question is not a difficult one in the abstract. I am alive because I'm in a commercial building and the alert specified residential structures. I am alive because I have not gone outside. I am alive because nothing has yet entered this building. I am alive because the heart in my chest is still beating and the air I'm exhaling is still warm. But the voice asked it like it knew the answer and was waiting to see if I knew it too. The voice said, Aiden, I will give you a hint. You are not still alive because of where you are. You are still alive because of what you are doing. I did not respond. The voice said, Aiden, you are still alive because you have not stopped talking. Then the receiver went quiet. I want you to understand what that means. If the voice is telling the truth, and I cannot assume it is, but if it is, then the act of broadcasting, of speaking on this channel, of narrating what is happening to me into the open air, is the reason I'm still here. The reason whatever happened to the people in their homes has not happened to me. I have been broadcasting since 3:18. I have not stopped. Even when I was on the landline with Eileen, even when I was on the landline with Marcus Vale, I left the civilian band open and I was speaking into it. Some part of me, the part that has done this job for 9 years, kept the channel live without consciously deciding to. If I stop talking, something changes. I do not know what. I do not want to know what. But the people in their houses were asleep. Asleep is silent. Asleep is the closest thing to absence that a living person can be. And the alert called them dead. Maybe the alert was not lying. Maybe the alert was describing a condition that had just become true. Maybe whatever is happening tonight requires a kind of stillness to take hold. And the people who were silent and still in their beds met the criteria first. And the alert was just the announcement of a fact that had already settled over them. And maybe I, sitting at a console with a live mic and a voice that has not stopped moving air through my throat, do not meet the criteria. Yet, that is my working theory. It is a bad theory. It is full of holes. It does not explain the people in the parking lot who are breathing, which is the opposite of stillness, and yet are clearly something other than what they were a few hours ago. But it is the only theory I have. So I am going to keep talking. The building has started to make sounds. This is a brick and concrete structure. It does not have the kind of wood frame voice that older buildings have. It does not creak in the cold. It does not pop and settle. It has for 9 years been one of the quietest places I have ever spent significant time in. The loudest thing in here, on most nights, is the hum of the transmitter. Tonight, the building has started making sounds. A long, low groan from somewhere in the walls, like the structure is being slowly compressed. A series of small ticks from the ceiling tiles, evenly spaced, about one every 4 seconds. A sound from the hallway that I keep telling myself is the heating system, except the heating system has been off for 40 minutes because the thermostat is reading 68 and refusing to cycle. I am not going into the hallway. I am not opening the door to the hallway. The console room has its own door, and I have closed it, and I have wedged my chair against it, which is not a security measure so much as a reminder to myself that I have made a decision and should not unmake it. I am going to keep talking. I have been scanning the bands. This is something I should have done earlier. I do not know why I did not. I think I was so focused on my own anomaly that I forgot the rest of the spectrum existed. But I have been scanning for the last 20 minutes, and I want to tell you what I have found, because it changes what I thought I was dealing with. Pelham is off the air. I do not mean Pelham is broadcasting silence. I mean Pelham's carrier wave is gone. The frequency where Pelham should be is empty. As in the air, there is colder than the air around it. As in the receiver, when I tune to Pelham's frequency, registers something less than 0, which is not a thing receivers are supposed to do. Cold water is still broadcasting, but the content has changed. The overnight loop, which I've heard for 9 years, weather, road conditions, the furniture store ad, has been replaced by a single repeating phrase. It says, "Please remain calm." It says it in the voice of the woman who normally records the morning forecast. It says it every 11 seconds. It does not vary. Mount Anson is broadcasting normally, or what sounds normally. The voice on Mount Anson is the standard automated overnight announcer. He is reading the temperature. He is reading the wind speed. He is reading the humidity. The numbers he is reading are not the numbers my instruments are showing. He is reading 68 degrees and clear. My instruments are showing 31 degrees and a barometric pressure that is dropping faster than it should be able to. I tried the commercial AM stations. The closest one, out of Halverton, is broadcasting dead air. Not silence, dead air. The hiss of an active transmitter with no signal in it. I tried the FM band. Most of it is empty. The college station out of Bremer is playing a song I do not recognize. It is a piano, very slow, no vocals, and I listened to it for a full minute before I realized it was the same 4 notes, in the same order, with no variation, and that the recording had been looping for what I would later determine from the playback was at least 3 hours. I tried the shortwave. The shortwave is the worst. The shortwave has voices on it. Many voices, speaking many languages. All of them saying, as far as I can tell with the small amount of each language I can recognize, the same thing. Please confirm receipt. Please confirm receipt. Please confirm receipt. I am beginning to think this is not a regional event. I tried my cell phone. I have been avoiding it. The relay station has poor cell coverage, and the building's metal mesh insulation in the walls makes it worse. But there is a spot near the window where I can usually pick up a single bar of signal. Enough to send a text, enough to load a web page if I am patient. I went to that spot. I checked the news. There is nothing. I do not mean there is no news about the alert. I mean there is no news at all. Every major outlet's homepage is loading, but the lead stories are all from yesterday. The timestamps are all from before midnight. The live updates are not updating. The social feeds are showing posts from hours ago. The most recent ones from people who appear to have been awake at the time and are now presumably asleep. The internet is still there. The pages are still loading. But nothing new is being written. Or, more precisely, nothing new is being written by anyone who is indoors. I checked a few accounts I follow, people I know in other parts of the country. None of them have posted since around 2 in the morning local time, which is when most of them would have gone to bed. The West Coast accounts, where it is still earlier, are still posting. The East Coast, the Central Time Zone, the Mountain Time Zone, all silent. The pattern is following the sleep cycle. I want to be careful here, because I'm extrapolating from a very small sample. And I'm tired. And I have not eaten in 8 hours, and my hands have started to shake in a way that I'm trying to ignore. But if I am right, and I want to emphasize the if, then this is not a regional event. This is happening to anyone who is asleep when the alert played. And the alert, in some form, has played in many places. The shortwave is evidence of that. The reason no one is reporting it is not because it is not happening. It is because the people who could report it cannot. Because they were inside, and they were asleep. And the alert called them dead. And whatever the alert means by dead is something that does not include the capacity to post on a news feed. I am one of the few people awake. I am one of the few people speaking. The voice on the receiver said I was alive because I had not stopped talking. I'm beginning to understand what that means. It is now 5:42 a.m. The sun should be rising in about an hour and a quarter. The eastern sky should be starting to lighten. The window facing east should be turning a pale gray, the way it does every morning at this time of year. The way I have watched it turn pale gray for 9 years from this same chair. It is not lightning. I checked the time. The time is correct. My watch agrees with the wall clock, agrees with the system clock on the computer. We are inside the window of civil twilight. The sky should be visibly changing. It is not. It is the same black it was at 3 in the morning. I want to entertain the possibility that this is a heavy overcast, that a low cloud cover is blocking the pre-dawn light. The weather instruments do not support this. Cloud cover is 0. Visibility, in theory, is unlimited. There is no precipitation. The instruments say the sky is clear. The sky is not clear. The sky is not anything. I have been staring at the window for the last 6 minutes. The window itself is still a window. The frame is solid, the glass is glass. But beyond the glass, there is nothing. Not darkness in the normal sense. Not the night sky. Not the parking lot, which I should be able to see because the lights are on. I can see the lights. The poles are still illuminated. The bulbs are still on. The light is still coming out of them. But it is not landing on anything. The light reaches a certain distance from the bulb and then stops, as if the air past that point does not accept light, as if the parking lot beyond that radius is not, in any meaningful sense, there. The people in the parking lot are still there. I can see them, faintly, inside the radius of the lights. There are now 9 of them. They are standing in a half circle around the building. None of them are looking up. The sun is not coming. I do not think it is going to. Something is at the door. I do not mean the console room door. I mean the front door of the building, the exterior door, the one that opens onto the parking lot. I have a camera on it. The feed is on my second monitor. I have been glancing at it every few minutes. There is a figure standing at the door. It is not one of the people from the parking lot. The people from the parking lot are still in the half circle. I can see them on the other camera. They have not moved. This figure is separate. It is taller than they are. It is dressed differently. It is wearing what looks like a uniform. A dark uniform. The kind a utility worker might wear, or a delivery driver, or, and this is what I'm trying not to think about, a member of an emergency response team. The figure is not knocking. The figure is standing very close to the door, facing it, with one hand raised, palm flat against the metal. The hand has been in that position for the last 4 minutes. It is not pushing. It is not feeling for a handle. It is just resting against the door, the way you might rest your hand against the side of a car to see if the engine is still warm. The door has a mail slot. I have just noticed that the mail slot is open. The mail slot opens inward. I did not open it. It opens on a spring-loaded flap that is normally closed. From inside the building, looking at the door, I can see a thin horizontal line of darkness where the flap is hanging open. Something is on the other side of the slot, holding it open. I cannot see what. The console room is at the far end of the building. The front door is 50 feet away through a hallway and a foyer. I am not going to check. The alert just played again. 5th time. I have lost track of when, because I've been so focused on the door and the parking lot and the sky. But it just played. Same tone, same 41 seconds, same voice. It said, "Attention. This is not a test. Anyone currently inside a residential structure within the alert zone is already deceased." Do not attempt to wake them. Do not attempt to enter. Repeat. Anyone indoors is already deceased. Then it added something new. It said, Kestrel relay, your transmission is appreciated. Please continue. Failure to continue will result in reclassification. Reclassification. I do not know what that means in the alerts framework. I can guess. The alert has two categories. Inside, which is deceased. Outside, which is not. I am inside. By the alert stated rules, I should already be deceased. I am not. Therefore, I am an exception. Therefore, I am, in some way the alert recognizes, classified as something other than the people in the houses. If I stop talking, I will be reclassified. I will become what they became. I do not know what they became. I know they are silent. I know some of them are standing in my parking lot. I know some of them are leaning against my front door with their hands raised. I know some of them are still in their houses with the lights on, with their family members standing in their hallways facing the wrong way, with their husbands not waking up, with their hands going numb, with the radio in the kitchen still telling them in a calm and patient voice that they are already dead. I am not going to stop talking. I am going to keep talking until someone comes for me, or until the sun comes up, or until the alert decides that I have transmitted enough. I am going to keep talking. I am going to keep talking. The lights just went out, all at once. Every light in the building, the console screens, the transmitter status panel, the little red diode on the smoke detector, even the emergency exit sign over the hallway door, which is supposed to have its own internal battery and stay lit for 90 minutes after a power failure. Everything off. Total dark. The transmitter is on the backup generator. The generator is in a separate enclosure outside the building, with its own fuel supply. And it is supposed to cut in within 4 seconds of a power loss. It did. I can hear it. The transmitter is still broadcasting. My voice is still going out. The little headset I'm wearing still has audio in it because the headset runs off the same backup circuit as the transmitter. But everything else is off. I am sitting in total darkness, in a building that has gone silent in every way except for the soft hum of the transmitter and the sound of my own voice. And I'm talking into a microphone, and I do not know if anyone is hearing me, but I'm going to keep talking. The generator is the important thing. The generator runs on diesel. There are 40 gallons of diesel in the tank outside. At standard load, that gives me approximately 6 hours of broadcast time. At reduced load with only the transmitter and the mic and nothing else drawing power, I might be able to push that to 8 or 9. I have flashlights. I have 2 of them. One in the desk drawer and one on the shelf above the console. I am reaching for the desk drawer one now. I do not want to use them both. I do not know how long this is going to last, and I do not know how dark the darkness is going to get before it is over. I have the flashlight. It is on. The beam works. I am pointing it around the console room. The room looks normal. The chair behind the door is still wedged where I put it. The papers on the desk are where I left them. The coffee mug is where I left it. The clock on the wall has stopped because it runs on house power, not the backup circuit. Everything in the room is exactly the way it should be. Except there is now a chair behind my chair. There is a chair behind my chair. I want to be very specific about this. There are 2 chairs in this room. There have been 2 chairs in this room for 9 years. One is the operator chair, which I'm sitting in. It is a black office chair on wheels. The other is a folding metal chair that sits against the wall by the door, where the supervisor sometimes sits when she comes by for evaluations. Both of those chairs are in the room. I can see both of them in the flashlight beam. The folding chair is by the door. The operator chair is the one I'm in. But there is a third chair. It is directly behind me, about 4 feet behind me. The flashlight beam, when I sweep it across the room, catches it briefly before moving on. It is a wooden dining chair, the kind you would find at a kitchen table. It has a high straight back and 4 legs and a woven seat. It does not belong in this building. I do not own a chair like that. The station does not own a chair like that. There is no scenario in which a chair like that would be in this room. It is empty. I want to emphasize that. There is no one sitting in it. It is just a chair. An empty wooden chair, 4 feet behind me, facing my back. I have not turned around fully. I have only swept the beam past it. I am facing my console. I am facing my microphone. I am facing the direction I was facing when the lights went out. I have not changed orientation. I do not intend to. I am going to keep talking. I am going to assume the chair is a hallucination. I have not slept in 19 hours. I have not eaten in 9. My adrenaline has been at sustained elevation for almost 3 hours. The human brain produces visual artifacts under those conditions. The chair is probably an artifact. The chair is probably an artifact. The chair is probably an artifact. I can hear breathing behind me. It is not mine. I am not turning around. I want that on the record. I am not turning around. I have made the decision. I am going to keep facing the console. I am going to keep talking into the microphone. I am going to assume that whatever is behind me operates under rules I do not understand, and that one of those rules might be that it cannot do anything as long as I do not look at it directly. The breathing is steady, slow, even. It is the breathing of a person at rest. It is the breathing of someone asleep, except no one is asleep behind me, because there was no one in this room a minute ago. I'm going to talk through this. I have a working theory. The voice on the receiver said I was alive because I had not stopped talking. The alert said failure to continue would result in reclassification. The people in the houses were asleep, which is silent, which is the opposite of broadcasting. The people in the parking lot are silent. The figure at the door is silent. Sound is the variable. Sound, specifically the sound of a human voice on an active broadcast frequency, is the thing keeping me classified as not them. The chair behind me, and whatever is in it, is the alert's attempt to change that. It is trying to make me stop. It is trying to make me turn. It is trying to make me react. Because if I react, if I gasp, if I scream, if I fall silent in shock, the broadcast stops. And I become eligible. So I'm not going to react. I'm going to keep talking. I'm going to keep talking in the same calm voice I have been using all night. Something has just started broadcasting on my frequency. I did not authorize this. I am the only one with access to this transmitter, and the transmitter has a single feed, which is my microphone, which is in front of me. There is no way for another voice to enter this channel. But there is another voice. It is layered under mine. I can hear it in my headset. It is faint. It is speaking in time with me. Every word I say, it says with me, half a beat behind, in a voice that sounds almost exactly like mine, but not quite. The cadence is slightly off. The pitch is slightly lower. The breathing pattern is wrong. It is mimicking me. I just tested it. I said the word verification, deliberately, an unusual word, a word I had not used yet tonight. The voice underneath mine said verification, half a beat later, in the same voice, with the same intonation. If anyone is listening to this broadcast on the receiving end, they may not be able to tell which of us is which. They may not be able to tell that there are two of us at all. The layering is subtle, the mimicry is precise. I am going to keep talking. But I want to say something to whoever is listening, in case it matters. If you hear me say anything that asks you to come outside, that is not me. If you hear me say anything that tells you to be quiet, that is not me. If you hear me say anything that contradicts what I've already said about staying away from this zone, that is not me. The real broadcast is the one telling you to stay outside, stay loud, stay awake, and stay away from any door that has a hand pressed against it from the wrong side. Anything else is the other one. Anything else is the chair. The generator just hiccuped. A momentary drop in power, less than a second. The transmitter status light on my console, which is the one piece of equipment still drawing from the backup circuit visibly, flickered. The headset audio popped. The microphone briefly went silent. In that silence, the other voice did not go silent. The other voice continued. For about 3/4 of a second, the only thing being broadcast on this frequency was the other voice, speaking in my cadence, saying words I had not said. I do not know what it said. I was not speaking. I cannot reconstruct what came out of the channel during that gap. The transmitter came back. The headset audio came back. I started speaking again immediately. The other voice fell back into its position, half a beat behind, layered under mine. But there are now 3/4 of a second of this broadcast in which the only voice was not mine. If you were listening during that window, I do not know what you heard. I do not know what it told you. I do not know if it asked you to do something. Please do not do anything it asked you to do. I'm going to assume the generator is going to hiccup again. The fuel line may be partially obstructed. The cold may be affecting the regulator. There are a dozen possible explanations. None of them are good. I have about 5.5 hours of fuel left. I do not know what happens at the end of those 5.5 hours. I am going to keep talking until I find out. The people in the parking lot are leaving. I want to report this because it is the first thing that has changed about them in 3 hours. They have been standing in their half circle, slowly creeping closer when I was not looking, breathing visibly in the cold, since approximately 3:18 in the morning. They have not done anything else. They have not spoken. They have not signaled. They have not tried to enter. Now they are leaving. I am watching them on the camera. They are turning one by one in the same direction and walking. Slowly, with the same uniform pace, as if they are responding to a signal I cannot hear. They are walking toward the east, toward the place where the ridge used to be visible. toward the place where there's now nothing. The figure at the door is gone. The hand is no longer pressed against the metal. The mail slot is closed. I checked. I went down the hallway with the flashlight. I checked. The door is still locked. The slot is closed. There is no one on the other side. There is no one in the foyer. The building is empty except for me. And the chair. The chair is still behind me. I came back to the console. I sat down. I did not look at the chair. I did not need to. I can still hear the breathing. It has not changed. It is the same slow, even, sleeping breath it was an hour ago. I do not know why the people are leaving. I do not know what they are walking toward. I do not know if their departure is a good sign or a bad sign. My instinct is that it is a bad sign. My instinct is that they have been called away because they are no longer needed here. My instinct is that whatever is happening is moving into a different phase, and the half circle around my building was an early phase, and the new phase does not require them to be near me. I do not know what the new phase is. I think I'm about to find out. The other voice has stopped mimicking me. For the last 3 hours, every word I have said into this microphone has been echoed half a beat later by the layered voice underneath mine. I had gotten used to it. I had stopped flinching when I noticed it. It had become part of the broadcast, the way the hum of the transmitter has been part of the broadcast for 9 years. It just stopped. I am still talking. I am still broadcasting. The carrier wave is still going out. My headset still has audio in it. But the layered voice is no longer there. For about 10 seconds, I thought that was good news. I thought it meant whatever had been piggybacking on my channel had given up. Then the layered voice came back. But it is not mimicking me anymore. It is speaking on its own. It is speaking under my voice in a steady, calm, conversational tone. It is saying things I am not saying. It is saying things I cannot quite make out, because they are layered under my own speech. But if I listen carefully, I can catch fragments. It is saying my address. It is saying the name of my supervisor. It is saying the name of the bar I used to go to before I stopped drinking. It is saying the name of my sister, who lives in another state, and who I have not spoken to in 4 months, and whose phone number I have not given to anyone in this building. It is reading me back to myself. It is reading me back to the audience. If you are listening, I am sorry. I do not know what it is going to say next. I cannot stop talking, because if I stop talking, I will be reclassified. But I cannot stop it from talking either, because I do not know how. I will keep going. The sun came up. I want to say that clearly, because for a long time tonight, I was not sure it would. The sky began to lighten at 6:47, which is 20 minutes later than it should have. But it did happen. The black faded to a deep blue. The deep blue faded to gray. The gray became the pale, washed-out color of a winter morning. And the light started to reach across the parking lot. And for the first time since 3:14, I could see all the way to the gate. The parking lot is empty. The people are gone. The half circle is gone. The figure at the door is gone. The gate is still locked. The gravel shows no footprints. There is no evidence in the daylight that any of them were ever here. I can see the ridge to the east. Hartwell Springs is visible. The radio tower is back. The red beacon is back. The porch lights are off. Because the houses inside Hartwell Springs are dark. Because the people in them are not awake. Because the people in them are something I do not have a word for. The sun is up. I am still talking. The chair is still behind me. The breathing is still behind me. The layered voice is still under mine, telling the audience about my childhood, about my mother, about the dog I had when I was 11. The sun being up has not changed any of those things. I do not know what the sun being up was supposed to change. A vehicle just pulled up to the gate. I can see it on the camera. It is a white van. It has government plates. There is writing on the side that I cannot quite read from this angle, but it looks official. A man has gotten out. He is wearing a uniform. He is walking toward the gate. He has a clipboard. He is moving the way a real person moves, which is to say, not the way the people in the parking lot were moving last night. He has reached the gate. He is examining the lock. He is looking up at the building. He is waving. I do not know if he is real. I do not know if anyone outside this building is real anymore. I do not know if the alert ended at sunrise, or if it is still running underneath everything I can perceive. I do not know if the chair is going to leave when the man comes inside, or if the man is going to walk past the chair without seeing it, or if the chair is going to be empty by then, because whatever has been sitting in it has finished what it came here to do. I'm going to keep talking. The man is coming up the path. He has a key. He should not have a key. No one outside this building has a key to this building except my supervisor and the maintenance contractor. He has a key. He is putting it in the front door. The lock is turning. I can hear the door opening 50 feet down the hall. I can hear footsteps. I can hear the man calling out, "Hello, hello, is anyone here? Hello." His voice sounds normal. His voice sounds like a person. I am going to stop talking now. I am going to stop talking because the man is here. And the man is real. And the man is going to walk into this room. And he is going to see me sitting at this console. And he is going to ask me what happened. And I'm going to tell him. I am going to stop talking. I am going to stop. Confirm receipt. Confirm receipt. Confirm.